Hello everyone and welcome back to Networking Tips. So today we are following up our Class 1 for the CCNA 200-301 v1.1 course with some practice questions. So if you are new to this channel and you're just coming across this video, welcome. Glad to have you here. This course has been designed to be a complete A to Z in preparation for the Cisco CCNA 200-301 version 1.1 exam. If this is the first video you're watching, I would recommend going back, checking out at least the last video we uploaded, if not both of the videos here on the channel so far, so that you can get an idea of what we are doing here. But if you've already watched those videos and you are here for some practice questions, let's go ahead and dive in. So I want to start off by saying we do have this additional study material beyond just what we talk about in the courses. That's going to consist of these video quizzes here, which this is one of those, and some separate lab-related videos where we use different Cisco tools and even real-life Cisco hardware. So make sure you're subscribed to Networking Tips so that you don't miss out on any of these great additional materials as you continue your journey in preparing for this exam. Let's get into the questions. So up first we have question 1. Question 1 is a client wants to purchase some new networking hardware which would allow them to connect around 20 computers to their network. What type of networking device should they be looking to buy? Of our answers here, we have a router, a switch, a firewall, or an endpoint/server. Feel free to pause this video and think about this question and come up with your answer, but let's start seeing which answers we can eliminate to see if you've gotten this one right. So first off, we can go ahead and eliminate a router. If you remember from the past video, a router is what's going to allow different networks to communicate with each other, not necessarily networks or computers within the same building. Of course, you can get more advanced and use routers for this, but at this simple question here, we're just looking to connect 20 computers on the same network to that network. So next up, we can eliminate a firewall. Again, if you remember, a firewall is a security appliance that allows you to filter, screen, and prevent network-related attacks. This is something that you want to have in place on your network, but it's not going to be the best to connect 20 different computers. Finally, we can go ahead and eliminate endpoint and server. In this case, the endpoint or server could fall into those 20 computers, so having more of those isn't going to help us connect them, leaving us with the final answer of a switch. If you remember, a switch can have anywhere from just a few additional ports, such as 5, all the way up to 48 or more, allowing you to connect several different computers, servers, endpoints, any type of device to that network. So, the answer to question 1 here is a networking switch. Now, moving on to question 2. Question 2 is your roommate sends a file from his iPhone using AirDrop to your MacBook. What role is your roommate's iPhone playing in this action? And to start to see our options here for question 2, we have a server, an endpoint, a router, or a client. Again, please feel free to use your pause button on YouTube to take a minute, think about this question, and come up with your answer. But let's start by eliminating some of these answers. So the first one we can eliminate is a client. Now, a client is, just going to be what is, receiving any of the data. It could be anything on a network from the iPhone to the MacBook to a server, really just depending on how it all interacts. A client could really be any device on the network. So while it may be applicable to this question, it's not the best answer. So let's eliminate another option. So we're going to eliminate an endpoint. Again, an endpoint, this one could be a little bit tricky because an endpoint could be your roommate's iPhone. But in this specific example, your roommate is sending the file from his phone to your MacBook. So the endpoint is not the best option. And finally, we're going to eliminate a router. Again, from the last question and from the last video, you'll remember a router is what's going to send data back and forth across networks. So that leaves a server. And if you remember from the last video, a server is a device that is giving out a service. In this case, your roommate is giving a service of sending you a file from his phone to the MacBook. So this is a good thing to mention here as well. When you look at these questions, there's a lot of extra data that you really didn't need in this question to get to this answer. Really, this question is, an iPhone sends a file to a MacBook. What is the role that it's doing? You don't need to know that it was using AirDrop. You don't really need to know that it was your roommate. You don't really need to know, some of this other stuff. So make sure to read through these questions carefully. And if you didn't get this one, again, let me know why down below in the comments. If this is confusing, I can always try and help answer any questions, provide additional resources over videos, things like that. So let's get into question 3. So question 3 is, the device you were using to watch this YouTube video, whether it be a computer, a phone, maybe something else, is as what while you, it's supposed to say acts as what while you are watching this video. So we have a server, an endpoint, a firewall, or a client. So using what we've seen across the last few questions, as well as in the last videos, this one should start to make a little bit more sense. We can start by eliminating an endpoint. Now again, an endpoint, anything really on the network, but not the best answer for this question. Eliminating a firewall. Again, a firewall is a security appliance. Maybe your computer has a built-in firewall that it's using, but it's not required to watch this video, so that's not the best answer. And finally, we can eliminate a server, leaving a client. Now again, this is almost the exact opposite of question 2. In this case, your computer is acting as the client, where YouTube is acting as the server. So you are receiving that information, meaning you are the client in this interaction. So, moving on to question 4. Question 4 is, your company is looking to buy some new networking hardware with the goal to connect their separate networks together. What device should they look to buy? Our options are a server, a firewall, a router, or a LAN. To start eliminating some of these here, again, this should start to look pretty familiar based off the last few questions, but we can start by eliminating a firewall. Again, there isn't really anything about security in this question, filtering, preventing attacks, IDS, IPS, things like that, which we'll talk more about in the course here. But moving on here, we can see that we can also eliminate a server. In this case, based off the last few questions we've had, there really isn't any interaction going on. This is looking to buy some new hardware. Nothing's getting sent files, nothing's receiving files, things like that. And finally, we can eliminate a LAN. Now again, a LAN is a local area network. This is more so just a term for a general network within a building, your home, anything like that. So it's not really going to be a device or hardware that you could go out and buy. So that leaves our final answer of a router. So again, routers are intended to connect multiple networks together, allowing traffic to go between them and, traverse the overall internet. So moving on to our 5th and final question here. Question 5. After several years, your company is looking to upgrade its networking firewall to a device that offers more advanced features. What kind of firewall should they be looking to buy? Now again, I will say, feel free to pause this, read through this question, make sure to filter out some of the information that you really don't need. It doesn't matter if it's your company. It doesn't really matter that they're looking to upgrade their firewall. They're just looking for a firewall that has advanced features. What would that be? So let's take a look at our options. We have a next-gen firewall, we have a host-based firewall, a new firewall, and a security firewall. Now again, feel free to pause this, read through the question, and pick your best answer. So let's start eliminating some of these. We can first start by eliminating a host-based firewall. Now again, if you remember from the last video, a host-based firewall is something like Windows firewall, Mac has a firewall in it, but it's something that's running on the computer that you are using. This is very common, but it's not really a device that you would buy separately. It's something that's built into the operating system of your device. Now, the next one we can eliminate is a security firewall. This really isn't something that exists. It's a very general term. You may see it used in different sales pitches, but saying a security firewall, it's not really something that you can actually go out and purchase. So that's not the best answer. Following that same logic, you can probably guess which one we're going to eliminate next, and that would be a new firewall. Of course, you may find something saying, you know, this is our new version of the firewall, but it's not really a device that you can go out and get specifically for this. So that leaves us a next-gen firewall, next-generation firewall. This is something that has some of those more advanced features compared to firewalls from several years ago, such as intrusion detection, intrusion prevention, and other features built into this hardware. So it is taking that security to the next level based on this newer device, and that's what, in this case, the company should be looking to buy. So, those are all the questions that I have here for us today. I hope this was helpful to you and as a good review for that first lesson. So again, if you are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, liking this video. It really does help us out and allow us to provide these videos for free here on YouTube for you. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, and I do hope to see you in my next video. Bye.